Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now in today's video out here on the trails, going out to Bushcraft Wonderland, getting myself out here for a day in the wilderness, just trying to enjoy my time. It's a beautiful day, springtime, everything's starting to get really nice, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to get this Eberlestock Mainframe out on the trails. So I've been hiking in for a little bit so far, carrying very well, very comfortable, and hauling my gear with ease. So today's video, some field use and field impressions of this Eberlestock Mainframe. Now I do have this outfit right now with the Batwings. That is a big part of this system for me. There's a number of different ways you could go about setting this up, but that's part of the discussion. And with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. Now before we get too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Eberlestock who did provide this for review. Now again, the Eberlestock Mainframe. If you've been watching my channel, I did cover this a little bit in the past in a first impression, sort of first look at this. This to me is definitely at this point going to be my go-to workhorse bag. You know, when I come out to places like Bushcraft Wonderland, I have a lot of gear that I need to bring with me for very specific reasons. That's absolutely the case here today. So this bag can be configured a number of different ways. Right now I have the Batwings zipped onto here just to give me a little extra storage. Now you do have the ability to zip on a ton of different accessories, bags, all sorts of different things. This is part of their modular platform. So the eMod platform, very flexible. It gives you a ton of different creative ways you can set this up, but I pretty much just needed a real basic kit to do a bunch of hauling. So I'm making pretty good time getting in to Bushcraft Wonderland about as quick as I possibly can. I'll see you when we roll into camp. So now rolling into camp, setting the bag down, the first thing you'll notice, pretty cool, it does have the tendency to stay upright, which is very nice. That's pretty much because the frame is an L shape going across the bottom, and that makes a nice platform. So as I set the bag down, again, it just kind of wants to stay upright, which I do like. Eberlestock always does a real nice job with their harness system. You can see this does have the ladder to allow you to adjust this to height. Now keep in mind, this is the long frame, so there are two versions of the Mainframe. This here being the longer of the two. I'm 6'1". I have a fairly long torso. I'd say not so much compared to other people that may be in this size range, simply because a lot of my length does come in my legs. But I do have about 21 inches from my shoulder blades down to the small of my back, and I just thought that the large and the long version would be a little bit better for me. Now another reason, apart from the actual length of the harness and the size of the harness, is the fact that with the longer Mainframe, you do end up with more, what I would call, I guess, platform space. So going up your back, it's a little bit longer. It gives you more attachment points and really gives you the ability to add some additional gear without it pushing into the back of your head. This definitely carried very well, and I do like their shoulder straps quite a bit. You'll notice they're fairly wide. They're not too thick, and they're ventilated. That's about perfect. You really don't need a whole heck of a lot in the way of padding if you have good quality wide straps and a harness system that holds the bag properly. So Eberlestock definitely addressing the harness system the exact right way in my opinion. Nice lumbar support and then a general V channel for some air. Definitely working out very well. Now today is not the warmest day, but it is warming up. It's actually going to get into about the 60s. It's probably in the high 50s, low 60s right now. I'm up to temperature. I'm sweating quite a bit. It's warm out here. And this definitely helped to channelize the air, which is good. Now the other thing that's very nice, just set up like any other bag meant to haul loads. Nice wide pads, good lumbar support, and then on top of that, the load lifters on top of the straps, helping to keep everything pulled into your body the way you need. I find this sort of middle ground sweet spot where the bag's not too rigid and it has just a little bit of room to move, yet at the same time it's not falling off your back and staying kind of parallel. Now again, keep in mind there are a number of ways I could have outfit this bag. Today I just needed to haul some gear. I'm here at Bushcraft Wonderland. I actually need to get some camouflage mesh netting up for some security reasons. I really need to kind of get this a little less obvious, so I'm going to try some camo netting as a way to do that. So it's in here. I just hauled it. But the one thing that I do want to point out, you need to be a little bit careful the way you pack this up. And the reason why I say that, if you're not careful, your items can fall off of the platform. That's the first thing I noticed when I was trying to get this really sort of set up today. I got everything sort of laid in here and on the platform, and before I knew it, it was kind of falling off. So you do just need to be a little bit careful. I opted to use a wool blanket just to kind of wrap these things up and kind of keep it at bay. And then once I wrapped around the Batwings and then the cinch straps, it worked out fairly well. So again, today's loadout, fairly straightforward. I brought a jacket. Here you can see my wool blanket, which is a fairly substantial size. I have the netting, so 2 different types of netting that I'm going to use today. I ended up bringing my tripod, which is off to the side right now, my silky saw, and a couple of blades. I have one in my pocket now, and then this one here, just to get down to some work. My medical kit, a large spool of bank line, some water, and some snacks. So very straightforward, but definitely an ample amount of space here in the Batwings, and then also cinching it onto the Mainframe. Now some details worth noting, and if you go back to my prior video, you'll see this in a little more detail, but you'll notice here that these Batwings are literally zipped onto the Mainframe. That's the first thing. These really do at this point sort of hinge on that one spot. There's probably a few different ways you could attach these. You'll notice on the back side of the Batwings there is some molly, so if you had to, you could kind of play around and attach these in some different ways if you're clever. There's also this nice laser cut molly all the way up the back panel that leaves you with a lot of flexibility and versatility. Looking at the bottom here, you can see this is all sort of webbing holding this sort of shelf into place. Now this is a rubberized material. It's very durable, nice and puncture resistant, and that's the case with most Eberlestock fabrics. They're actually very durable, and I like that. And the other thing that I do want to note about this particular pattern here, this Eberlestock camouflage, and most of their camo patterns are very soft. These are intended primarily for hunting in the first place, so having it nice and soft, it doesn't make much noise. That's another thing. This bag is very quiet. As I'm carrying it, no creak, no sort of like, I don't know, rubbing or any sort of jingling or jangling or anything like that. It's very quiet, and I definitely like that. Now speaking of the camo, my particular pack is in Eberlestock's proprietary Mirage camo pattern. So as we take a look out here, well, let's see, where is it? Scout around real quick. Do you see it? There it is. I would say it is very effective. It has a real nice pattern. It looks great. You can see it up against that rock there. Very subtle and blending in nicely. I was taking a second look here. Scouting around. And here you go. You can see I did dress this up a little bit, kind of stuck it behind a couple little branches, but bottom line is, I would say it's very effective. Now a couple things worth mentioning. I could have used their laser cut utility panel. There is panels that you can actually use on their modular kits, both for the inside of the pack, but also on the outside. It acts a little bit kind of like a beaver tail. Now I did not get that set up. I'll probably try it at a later point in time, but I probably could have got away with that, with the one exception being, when you look at the way it clips, it does use J-hooks. Now I know Eberlestock does have some accessory straps that you might be able to adapt to it to make it work for the F1 mainframe, but it's really sort of a different clip clip system. This leveraging buckles versus the J-hooks, but at the same time you could probably get those J-hooks sort of latched on here, pull the buckles to the side, and I'm pretty sure it would have worked just fine. So that is another option I could have gone with if I didn't want to just use the straps around the outside and really got everything sort of cinched up using that laser cut panel. That definitely would have worked. Now, I don't have too much to complain about Eberlestock Products. However, I do always think if there's room to improve, it needs to be pointed out. There's a couple things that I find here to be a little funny. Keep in mind, again, I do have the tall frame, so results may vary if you have the regular size frame. However, what I can say is, first off, this keeper here is really intended to prevent the zipper from running down the track. If I just unclip this real quick, you'll see this zipper does go down the track and unzips the Batwing from the frame itself. So zipping that up, the intent would be to get this little clip here onto this loop. But I can tell you, no matter what I do, like, I cannot stretch this far enough to effectively get that to connect. So I just made my own little loop here. So my suggestion to Eberlestock is just make that loop a little bit longer. This was left kind of short. And then on this side, there's no real effective way to connect this. It does not have one of these clips. So this Batwing here doesn't even have a clip at all. Personally, for me, I think this should have a clip on it too. It would clip onto here just perfect, no problem. And then you have the ability to zip this up the middle with a standard keeper. I don't really know why this is done exactly the way it is. There's probably a reason, and I suspect it's partly because these are not right and left hand side specific. They're kind of universal. So depending on your needs, it kind of operates in one of a different sort of ways. But in my opinion, I think having the keeper on this side would have been pretty important. So I made it do just with a little carabiner and clipped it on. And then last but not least, this does not have any way to keep the zipper up. I found that if you're not careful and you just sort of lean on this, it will splay open. So you need to be careful. You need to find a way to kind of keep this at bay. You could potentially just put a little loop through your like laser cut molly here and connect this to it. But then at the same time, if you have this loaded out with some gear in here and it's bulged out, there's no real effective way to do that. So this to me is just a little bit of a liability where if you're not careful, it can sort of fillet open. Now you can mitigate that obviously by strapping it shut, so using the accessory straps, but at the same time, you don't really need to use the straps all the time. So if I didn't want these straps and I wanted to completely remove them, having the ability just to zip the Batwings on for a real quick little day excursion or whatever you're trying to do, and just making sure that this doesn't fillet open, that would be key. The other thing they could potentially do is just simply put a little clip right here that allows you to clip that together so it would stay put. But other than that, I mean, this bag is fantastic. I absolutely love it. As I mentioned, this is now my workhorse. It's a great bag. Now just running through some final details on the waist belt here, you can see all kinds of molly, which is nice, having the ability to put pouches. So for me, whether it's a water bottle corset, whether you're actually connecting a knife, you could even, for me, I a lot of times will put a dump pouch on here. I love putting dump pouches just right in a convenient spot. Allows me to dump a canteen, gather supplies, fire making supplies, or different things while I'm out on the trails. The Batwings, you can see on the outside, have a very simple pocket. That's been awesome for me. That for me is my tripod. You could do a number of things, put a saw, you could put a little camp chair. I mean, tons of different things that you could use. It's nice actually that it's just an open slip pocket. I do like that. As I open the Batwings, these are pretty open. You'll see they sort of fillet open. Still plenty of room down in the bottom. This pretty much just goes right down. Now these do have the ability to put a water bottle bladder in here if you want. So a water bladder goes right down inside. Nice slip pocket here that works out very well. It gives you a little additional sort of separation of space if you need it. And then up on the sides here, you do end up with some routing ports for your hose. So these are a very flexible piece of kit. I love things like this, like saddlebags or different sort of side pockets work out very well for me. You'll see in the summertime, chances are I'm going to get this bag out into the mountains. It's going to be really converted to a full sort of backpacking kit, and at that point I'm going to have my food in here. I'm going to have all the things I need while I'm out on the trail, so I don't need to dig into my main pack. And last but not least, I do want to mention all the hardware. So nice quality Duraflex buckles. Eberlestock always doing a wonderful job with their hardware, and even to the point where literally all of their straps have little keepers to keep things tidy. So generally speaking, very nice. I do like the bag quite a bit. This is, again, my workhorse bag. This is going to be continuously used in many different applications, and as I mentioned today, out here at Bushcraft Wonderland. And so again, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Eberlestock who did provide this for review. And for the rest of you, if you like this content, do me a favor, take a look at my Outer Limitless 2 channel, which is more on the tactical and firearm side of things. At this point, that channel is growing quickly. I have a ton of videos up there, so if you like what you see here on Outer Limitless, do me a favor and check me out on Outer Limitless 2. So alright guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.